All right, let's get into this. This is an amazing story about three friends, each with these unique, you might even say unbelievable talents that were destined to change everything, not just for them, but for an entire kingdom. So, let me ask you this right off the bat. Can one special thing about you, just one quality, completely change your destiny? I mean, we all have our quirks, right? But what if yours was so extraordinary it could take you from a tiny village all the way to a royal palace? Well, let's find out. Okay, so our story kicks off in this small, quiet village, and we meet our hero, a young man named Dinanath. Now, he's the son of the local barber, but let's just say his dreams are a lot bigger than his father's shop. And this is what makes Dinanath so different. The guy has basically super hearing. We're talking about hearing his dad leave the shop from miles away, or hearing his mom start to cook dinner when he's clear across the village. It's this incredible, unbelievable gift. But as you'll see, not everyone thinks it's so great. You see, his own father looks at this amazing ability and, well, he just sees laziness. He actually calls Dinanath an enemy of the grain, which is a really harsh way of saying he's a useless daydreamer who won't work. It just goes to show you, right? A talent that doesn't seem practical can get judged pretty hard. So, hurt by these words, Dinanath makes a huge decision. He's had enough. He vows to leave home and prove that this thing his father calls a weakness is actually his greatest strength. And his goal? It sounds totally impossible. I'm going to the palace and I'm going to marry the princess. So Dinanath packs his things and heads out on this grand adventure. And pretty soon, he discovers something really important. He's not the only person in the world whose special gift has kind of made them an outcast. He's about to find his people. So first, he meets the Sky Canoe. And Canoe's special talent? He has an appetite so huge, so bottomless, that his own family kicked him out. I mean, can you imagine? Being thrown out just because of how you were born? The man has never felt full in his entire life. But Dinanath doesn't see a problem. He sees an opportunity. He makes Canoe an offer he can't refuse. Come with me to the palace. Trust me, there will be no shortage of food there. And for the first time, someone sees Canoe's curse as a superpower. Then they meet Banu. This man's sensitivity is just as extreme as Kanu's appetite. For him, a single leaf falling on the ground sounds like an earthquake. An ant walking by sounds like a stampede. So, of course, the poor guy can never, ever get a good night's sleep. Once again, Dinanath sees a powerful talent going to waste. He promises Banu a place so quiet he'll finally be able to sleep. And just like that, the team is assembled. A team of misfits ready to put their so-called weaknesses to the ultimate test. All right, so the three friends make it. They're at the royal palace. But, you can't just stroll in and expect to marry a princess. They're going to have to earn it. They have to prove that these unbelievable stories about them are actually true. So Dinanath, this bold dreamer, walks right up to the king and proposes a deal. The stakes could not be higher. He says, if we prove our abilities, Kanu gets all the food he can eat for life, Banu gets a perfectly quiet place to sleep forever, and I get to marry your daughter, the princess. But, he says, if we fail, you can cut off our heads. The king, pretty amused and definitely skeptical, agrees to the challenge. So the king sets up 3 trials, a test for each of their wild claims. First, a feast for Kanu. Second, a special bed for Banu. And then, a final test for Dinanath himself, if they even make it that far. So, first up, the feast. The king tells his cooks to prepare every single bit of food in the entire royal kitchen. Now, the royal food supply is, massive, but Kanu's appetite, it's even bigger. He eats everything, every last crumb, and then he asks if there's any more. The king is just floored. Trial 1, complete success. All right, next up is Banu. The king has this incredibly luxurious bed made, piled high with 100 of the softest mattresses you can imagine. But the second Banu lies down, he shoots right back up. He says, "No way, I can't possibly sleep. There's something sharp poking me." The king, thinking this is just ridiculous, tells his guards to search the bed. They take off mattress after mattress, and what do they find? Buried way down between the 99th and the 100th one, a single human hair. A single hair. It was all the proof they needed. His sensitivity wasn't a problem. It was a precision instrument. Trial 2, passed with flying colors. So, 2 trials down, 1 to go. The king is seriously impressed.
But now it all comes down to Dinanath. He has to prove his own wild talent, that he really can hear anything, anywhere.
Just as the king is trying to think up a test, Dinanath's face goes completely serious. He puts his gift to use, focusing his hearing miles away on the royal stables. He turns to the king and delivers some chilling news. He says, "I've just overheard your minister and your top general. They're plotting to kill you tonight. In your sleep." Dinanath lays out the whole evil plan he overheard. The traitors are going to wait until midnight, sneak into the king's bedroom, and attack whoever is sleeping in the bed. The king is, of course, shocked, but Dinanath already has a plan to catch them in the act.
And that night, it all goes down exactly as Dinanath said it would. The minister and the general creep into the royal bedroom. They see the shape of a person under the blankets, and thinking it's the king, they attack with their swords, striking again and again, only to find out they've been hacking away at a pile of pillows. At that very moment, the king's guards who are hiding in the room spring the trap.
So there you have it. Dinanath's special talent didn't just pass some silly test. It saved the king's life. It saved the entire kingdom from a takeover. The daydreamer his father scorned had just become the kingdom's greatest hero. The king, overwhelmed with gratitude, turns to Dinanath and says, "You are a worthy son-in-law and the rightful heir to my throne." The barber's son, once called an enemy of the grain, had proven his worth beyond anyone's wildest dreams. And with that, the impossible dream becomes a spectacular reality. The whole kingdom celebrates. Dinanath and the princess have a massive royal wedding, complete with incredible feasts, music, fireworks, the whole shebang. And what a perfect ending. Their incredible journey finished with a total victory. Each of the three friends got exactly what they had hoped for. Dinanath married the princess he loved, Kanu got a lifetime supply of food, and Banu finally got a place where he could sleep in perfect peace. This story is just such a fantastic reminder that the things that make us different, the things that make us weird, are often our greatest strengths. A talent that was dismissed as daydreaming saved an entire kingdom. An appetite that was seen as a curse, a sensitivity seen as a weakness. They were all just incredible gifts waiting for the right moment. What society might call a flaw could actually be your superpower. So it really makes you think, doesn't it? What unique talent do you have? And if